Welcome! My name is Kelly.
My name's Jamie.
And this is Fanimated, an impromptu fan podcast where we talk about our favorite animated media.
The show where everything is planned out ahead of time, and we don't decide things at the last minute, and everything's very organized and professional.
Exactly, we're professional. We weren't just talking about all of the shows we've been watching and realized, hey, we should maybe record this.
This is gold.
This is podcast gold right here. Oh man. Well, Jamie, if I am correct in my loose planning here, planning, we would have just had you on the podcast to talk about Given,
right.
Which I'm sure was an awesome episode that a whole bunch of y'all tuned into, and was probably the best podcast ever recorded.
This is some time travel stuff, because that is in the future for me and it's in the past for your listeners, and that is breaking my brain. That's hard to wrap my head around.
Yes, that's where we're at, everybody. If you can believe it. Well, I've had a lot of Whatcha watchings this summer, but that's because it's the summer and I'm busy and going on vacations and things.
Oh, yeah.
And it's better
100%.
than last year when I took a hiatus and there was a summer break. So there you go. You're welcome, everyone. But we were just watching. Man, we've been watching actually quite a bit, but we had to really scratch our heads and be like, have we been watching animation?
Right. That's always tricky, yeah. How dare live action things come into my life and take up my valuable attention when it could be used on animated stuff?
I mean, animation definitely holds my attention a lot, but dang, there's so much good live action stuff coming out. I mean, Stranger Things, that's been a wild,
that was
wild
just
ride.
Today, I think. Yeah. The new one, I mean.
Shh, you're telling them when we're recording this.
Oh, sorry. Oops. Rat.
There's our
I've
little...
been found out.
We've been found out. Oh no.
Yeah.
But yes, I have to watch the second part of this season. That's on my list. I was just telling Jamie I watched or have been watching Only Murders in the Apartment. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely hilarious. Just a good time all around.
Still haven't seen that one, but I know I should. It looks wild and haphazard and fun.
It is all of those things. It is like it doesn't take itself too seriously, and yet every once in a while it actually is pretty serious. Which I appreciate.
Okay. Interesting.
And I just appreciate the weird trio. Like I like the like, we're gonna put all these people together who really have nothing in common except for the fact that A, they all live in the same apartment building, and B, they all like murder podcasts, a true crime podcast. And
wait, the characters do?
The characters do.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's like the reason they all connect, is that they all listen to the same true crime podcast. Oh my
gosh.
And then what happens
is... That's a great idea.
It's so smart. And it's like, oh my goodness. And then like an actual murder takes place. And so they're like trying to solve it as amateurs.
Excellent. They're going to be sleuths. And then we're like learning about them, and I mean, they're all you don't know what's true and what's not. I mean, yeah, it's great. So I'm enjoying that one. As we go through some live action stuff. And Jamie, you've been watching The Pirates. Oh yeah. I'm like elbow deep in Our Flag Means Death. That's a good one. I'm super into that. I'm watching The Umbrella Academy. There's just all kinds of stuff going on. I haven't even gotten around to Heartstopper yet. I want to watch Heartstopper. There's so many good things happening.
Jamie, Heartstopper? Okay, y'all. Yeah. I know we talk about animation, but let's give us this few minutes. I was like, oh my gosh, that's on Netflix. Everyone's raving about it. You know what? I'm just going to read it because I wanted to read it before I watched it. I read the entire thing in less than a week.
Yeah.
Not even a problem. It was fantastic. And the show is just as like wholesome and perfect, and I love them, and it's like they do such a good job of like bringing it to this big screen. Like it was so good. So yes, please.
They greenlit another season, right? I think they did already.
Good, that's good news.
Okay, I think they did. Yeah, I've actually been reading it for like a couple years now. I found out about it maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I got super into it, and then I got to where I was caught up, and then I would like Google it every couple weeks to make sure I'm reading the newest updates, and then I still haven't watched the show, which like I feel like a bad fan because I was so hyped on this story, and then the adaptation comes along and I'm like, oh, I'm totally gonna get to it tomorrow, and I just still haven't. So like, I know I got to because I've heard it's amazing. Yeah.
For being a long-time fan, like and not having seen it yet, tisk. It'll be there when you're ready
true.
for it.
Yeah.
I mean, Our Flag Means Death is one that's been on my list for forever, and I'm sure that it's worth waiting on Heartstopper to watch Our Flag Means Death.
It's so goofy. Like anyone listening, if you've seen any of Taika Waititi's work, it's extremely strange. It's extremely funny. It's such a enjoyable, goofy vibe. Like, well, I was gonna say the whole way through, but I'm technically not quite done yet. I think I have 2 episodes left, or 3. But everything about it is like this Pirates of the Caribbean-esque adventure, except even less serious and like less concerned about realism and accuracy. So it's just it's just like ridiculous, goofy stuff, and people will suddenly break into modern speech if they think it's funny enough, and the characters are so wonderful and vibrant and like all completely different from each other in like diverse ways that is missing from a lot of media, and that was such a joy to see, like different kinds of people, different kinds of relationships. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful. And they just happen to be like stabbing people and stuff. But other than that, it's very wholesome.
Other than the violence.
Other than the whole pirates thing.
Yeah. And you've mentioned the diversity of the cast and the characters. Is there a lot, or is there any like good female representation? Because I guess I picture a pirate ship and it's all men. Let's
see. I can only think of one lead female character. There did seem to be another one at first. We have since learned that this character goes by they, them, which is dope.
Great.
Unfortunately, it does cut down the number of actual female characters.
All right. Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
We can, I obviously, the show is doing a lot of other good stuff, so I'm not gonna fault it.
It would be nice. It would be nice if we could get every victory, but unfortunately not that one.
Yeah. Especially if they're kind of ignoring historical accuracy anyway, then it would have been cool if there was more females on board, because I know that's a big thing with a lot of stories that like are pirates or in that time. It's like, oh, it's bad luck to have a girl on board or whatever it is, right? And if they were already kind of throwing all of that out, then why not just have half the crew be female or female identifying?
Gosh. I think they even have that line as a joke. Somebody says that it's bad luck to have women on board, and now that I think about it, that would have been super fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, unless the final 2 episodes have some wild stuff in store, I guess is possible, but it seems like unlikely at this point.
Still on my list though. Yeah.
But everything else really is great. I'm having a great time. Yeah.
It looks absolutely phenomenal. I hear nothing but great things, so I'm glad you're having a good time, and I can't wait to get on board that ship. Hey. Oh man, we're professionals over here. Clearly.
Our Flag Means Death is great because whenever you ask someone like where to watch it, they'll tell you like, oh, it's on HBO Max, but it's also, and I can't stress this enough, a pirate show. And then they kind of like stare at you for a few seconds, and then you go on with your conversation. Like, you haven't said anything. You didn't say it, and I'm not saying it on this podcast. But
So
yeah, because
anyway.
everyone streams The Owl House on Disney Plus.
Oh my lord! I want to talk about The Owl House, but I can't because I'm not caught up. Oh my gosh!
Jamie Krause.
Yeah.
I talk about The Owl House every single episode, and I am constantly raving about it and gushing about it on Instagram at Fanimated Podcast if you want to hear it. And I still will talk about it.
Yeah.
As much as I can. It's so... I know you already know it's amazing because you've watched so much of it already. But, like, genuinely, it there have been some really bad days where I'm just like, you know what? At least we've got The Owl House.
Yeah. Like, if a show is so good that it can be that kind of, like, light in the distance, that's how you know it's a darn good show. Yeah.
It's a darn good one.
Yeah. I'm so happy to hear that, like when they announced it was getting cut short early, like Disney was, cutting them off at, like, a third season, but it's going to be a shorter season, and like that was not what they had planned. That was much sooner. As soon as I heard that, I was worried, but since then I've heard nothing but rave reviews and that people absolutely adore it, and I'm so happy.
I like people, you know, concerned that they had to cut it short and keep things going, but like honestly, I am over here like, wow, they're doing it well. Like they're taking the time they have left and using it to its absolute fullest. Like,
oh my goodness, that's wonderful to hear.
Again, I've said this I think on the last Whatcha Watchin', but like I do have high hopes and I have a lot of trust in the team and the crew on this show, and that they are going to be able to really stick this landing, and they might not. But I have really high hopes. I really do. And so even though it's cut short, I don't want people to like go into it thinking it's shortened or to be upset or to be like, you know, because like they're going to make it complete. They're going to do a fantastic job, and we should just be excited for the amount that we get left. And like yeah, there might be some little pieces here and there, and like, you know, the crew has already shown some things that didn't make it into season 2 and then probably won't ever make it, and like all these cool ideas, but that happens in every show, you know.
Yep.
Like there's always stuff tons of stuff gets left on the cutting room floor. And like that is why we have a fandom on the internet where you can write a fanfic or draw a fan art. And like honestly,
Yeah.
The Owl House fandom is like so creative and so fun, and that just like elevates my appreciation of the series and my love for these characters, and I am just like head over heels in love with this show.
Man, that's so good to hear that like the community is not only like having a good time and just like making the most of what we have, but like also, I don't know how to put what I'm trying to say, that the community is like also kind of expanding their own thing too. They're also like finding ways of like expressing more creativity and more things they love about the show. Like, I don't know, just hearing that is really cool. I don't know, I'm really excited about that, and I'm not even caught up.
Oh, I do. I love a good fandom. So
yeah. I watched the first chunk of season 2, so this must have been last year at some point. And the rest of season 2, which was like just within the past month or two, right? I've still not gotten to it yet, but I gotta, because I've heard it's amazing. And the more time I spend online runs the risk of spoiling things, because I'll just be like doing whatever on YouTube or whatever, and I'll see something about Hunter is gonna, and I'm just like, no, run away, gotta leave,
run away,
gotta go,
go the opposite direction, please.
Gotta get out, can't do it.
No,
bad news.
Bad news bears.
Yeah. So I gotta bail as quickly as possible. I everything like. Both now from what I'm hearing from people, and also when I was current on the show and kept up with everything, the comparisons to Gravity Falls feel like a good comparison. Not exactly the same, obviously, very different thematically, but in a lot of ways, like, people people having so much fun and so much emotion and wonder in a piece of media like I did back then. You know, like that's so cool. I love that there's a new generation that's getting that same vibe. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is a wonderful way to put it, and something I hadn't really like landed on before. But,
Okay.
Yes, like because it is not like Gravity Falls
Right,
at all, like
right.
zero amount. But like the fandom energy feels similar.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it is. It's like, wow. Like, that's a side note, too. Like, Gravity Falls just turned 10 a little while
Yeah.
ago.
Right. Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm
That's
an
so
old
weird.
person. But, like, yeah, there's this whole other generation
Yeah.
getting hyped about the Owl House. And, like, man, it's just good. It's all so good. All of it's so good.
Oh, my goodness.
I love these characters so much. So yeah, I expect to hear your thoughts
Yes.
on the second part of season 2 as you
Excellent.
watch it.
Excellent.
Yeah, I need those updates, man.
Oh, for sure. There's like 2 things I gotta finish. I just now finally finished watching the thing that we're about to talk about in the full episode. And then people have been. I have like a group of people that have been pushing me to finally watch Our Flag Means Death, so I'm on that. I'm nearly done. I'm watching The Umbrella Academy just for me, but as soon as I'm done with those 2, we're going to jump over to The Owl House, we're going to finish that, and then we're going to jump back to anime. It's the whole plan. I've got like a process, yeah.
You've got a process.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what? You should always watch things for you, you know?
Yeah. That's absolutely true.
Yeah. I understand the social pressure, especially since I am that social pressure.
Yeah,
But
I should be clear. To be clear, I'm not watching any shows that are like, boy, I'm not having fun, but I feel like I gotta. Like, that's really not the case. You know, like each one of
Yeah.
these shows that people told me about, I tried episode 1 and I absolutely adored it. So like, things are going good over in Jamie's media world, right?
good.
No, yeah, that's such a good thing to keep in mind, though. Like, it can feel overwhelming with how many new stories are out there, but like, just do your thing. Just like find what you're
Yeah.
interested in and watch it, and like have a good time.
Yeah.
You know?
You don't have to be up on all of the current things.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
you don't have to watch something that's quote unquote like, you know, just for kids and you're an adult and you can't watch it. No.
Right.
Throw all of that on the floor. You can watch whatever, you know, like animation. There truly is like a corner of animation for everyone. There's
Yeah.
a genre that you like. There's a, you know, a mystery. There's a drama. There's a action. You know,
Oh yeah.
there's everything. So just enjoy yourself and have a good time and be nice to people. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
a general life philosophy.
That's what we're trying to get at on this episode of What You Watching. Just be kind to yourself and others.
Exactly. Be kind to yourself
Yeah.
and others.
Absolutely.
Um,
This turned into like life lessons, and I wasn't expecting it to, but I'm here for it. Yeah.
life lessons with Kelly and Jamie.
Yes.
Speaking of life lessons, can I say that word? I don't know. Speaking of life lessons, I've been rewatching and catching up on Camp.
Camp. I was gonna quote part of the song, but I can't think of a single word right now because it all goes too fast. Camp.
Oh, there's a place I know that's tucked away, a place that you and I can
Oh,
stay,
there we go, yeah.
where we can go to laugh and play and have adventures every day.
Yeah.
I know it sounds hard to believe, but guys and gals, it's true. Camp Campbell is the place for me and you.
Oh my gosh. It's so.
Don't ask me to go beyond to that.
Yeah, it's
because
so peppy and bouncy.
I don't know.
But then, like halfway through the theme song, it becomes just this absolutely madcap list of dangerous, life-threatening things. It's a
Yes.
mess. Yeah. Camp is great, man. I'm so glad you reminded me that Camp exists because I briefly forgot. Since in my brain I was thinking of it as a YouTube show, so like in the media landscape, I sometimes forget that is a cartoon that's still coming out and like is still doing more things, and I can go watch it. You know?
Yes. And it's so good.
Yeah.
And I forgot that it had existed too until recently, and for whatever reason, it sparked my memory, and I was like, I should go back. And suddenly there are 2 more seasons that I've missed.
Oh my gosh.
I hadn't been watching it in years. But if you don't know, Camp, it is on YouTube for free. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
Is about Camp Campbell, which is the camp for everyone because the owner swindles everyone into signing up for this camp on the terms of, oh yes, this is space camp, or oh yes, this is science camp.
It's all the camps.
It's all of the camps. And so there's a group, it's just a group of kids who are there who all have different interests and abilities. And so it's drama camp, and then it's like D&D camp. And it's like, it's out. Everything in it is fantastic. And the main characters are Max, this 10-year-old kid who is has a negative outlook on life.
Highly sarcastic. Does not want to be
sassy.
Does not want to be there. Does not want to be anywhere. Does not want to know anyone.
Is just fed up with this camp life, right? And then there's David.
David, my beloved, the counselor.
The camp counselor.
Oh my gosh.
We can't even say it. But he is the peppiest peppy person that you've ever seen.
Impossibly positive. Like
truly impossibly.
To the degree that like it breaks through believability, and then it keeps going so far that it becomes funny again. Like, yes. It's really something to watch. It's really incredible, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And the voice actor just kills it because he's like, all right, campers, today's going to be another great day. And it's like, it's so perfect. It absolutely makes me lose it, yeah.
and I truly, one of my favorite things to see in media are the duo that one of them is, you know, it's the, what is that meme, like, someone will die of fun.
That's right. Oh my gosh, I've seen that meme, yeah.
That's my favorite dynamic.
In every scene they're in together is so funny because just like David desperately wants Max to be happy and be his friend and like have a good summer, and Max is just like, I want you to die. That's really the extent of their relationship.
Yeah. Like Max is just incredible. Max is just very realistic and just like sees a lot of the, you know, he wants to drag David down to his level, basically. Like,
I would agree with that, yeah.
You know, he wants to kill his optimism because because Max can't ever be that, you know. Yeah. And I could go very deep into their characters because I love them so much. But it's a great fun time, and then it gives you the punch in the gut every once in a while to remind you that these characters actually have depth.
Oh, that's so fun when like you think it's gonna be all goofs and laughs, and then when you're least expecting it, you just they get you, man, and suddenly you're crying and you're not sure why. I wasn't expecting emotions.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. So that's a somewhat underrated, underknown show that I would highly recommend.
Yeah, it's Rooster Teeth, which are the guys who did some other web shows back in the day. And the only reason I bring that up is because it's definitely more, I guess vulgar is an okay word for it. It's more foul-mouthed and like, yeah, it's definitely more.
It's definitely mature.
Yeah,
mature.
I would agree with that. It's less maybe family friendly than a lot of stuff that is promoted on this show. Thank
you for the
heads up.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, like one of the very first scenes I think is just Max is like spewing off all these swear words, and you know, of course David's like, what? And like foul mouth. Come on, you know.
That's the thing, right? Is it wouldn't be half as funny or interesting if it was just like, this is just a show where people swear and are like really like bleak outlook about the world and stuff. Like David being there really brings it up so much and makes it so much funnier.
Yes, because he's the one that never swears.
Yeah.
Well, but see, not never, because then when he does swear, you know something's up. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's like when an anime character always has their eyes closed, and then there's like one scene where they open them, and you're just like, no. That's David with like ever raising his voice. Yeah.
Yes. And it's also different from like a lot of other adult comedy animation shows in the respect that like for the most part I feel like their jokes are pretty universal and aren't necessarily pinged to specific political or current current events, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like being more about the characters and the story instead of like real world stuff.
Right. Like, you know, and they're even removed from the real world. They're at this camp, you know?
Right.
And like, so the jokes and things are all like, there are definitely some things that are more relevant to the time, but like they're all still funny even if you're watching it however many years later, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like a lot of like adult comedy animation in the West is the opposite of that. Like I think of like South Park, right? And it's just
right.
We're just going to talk about current events. It's like, no, this is not that show, and
it's a different kind of humor for sure.
That. Yeah. Okay, besides Camp and Given, obviously you're watching Given. You've also been watching one of the best anime of all time. And you finally finished it, and I need your full account, please, of Ouron High School Host Club.
Yes. Okay, so here's the thing, because how did this come up? Because you and Emma have been telling me to watch this show for ages, and I appreciate that, and I don't want it to sound like I'm only finally now watching it because somebody else came in and told me to. that is what it's going to sound like.
Emma
though.
And I not is our word not good enough? Us,
no,
the Fanimated. Is the Fanimated brand worth nothing to you?
This is gonna sound horrible, because like it was so funny, because I remember you guys talking about how it was like for Emma, or maybe for both of you, the first anime you ever saw, I think, right?
For Emma, it was Emma's first ever anime. Yeah.
Somehow the topic came up while I was talking with my boyfriend, and he's like, oh yeah, that's the first anime I've ever watched. And I'm just like, you have to be kidding me, this can't be real. Like, I've heard so many good things about this show. It sounds hilarious, it sounds very, very fun and wholesome. And he was like, we could just watch it, let's just watch it. And I'm like, okay, let's watch it. So we sat down, I think it was over the course of 2 different days, and we just watched the entire show.
Fantastic.
It's like 24 episodes or something, and we're just like, no, let's keep this party going. It's like 3 a.m. I want more Ouron. Like, let's do this.
3 a.m. Honey Senpai is gonna get a cavity. Let's go.
We can't stop now. They're about to go to their weird indoor beach park. Like, I don't super get it, but we have to watch it. Yeah.
But we can't skip the beach episode.
We can't skip the beach episode. Oh boy. Okay. I've seen some pretty funny anime that I like a lot. I don't think I've ever seen something like this. Oh, it's so, I don't know where to begin.
Okay, for those out there who A, haven't been listening to this podcast since literally like episode 2.
Right.
And B, also like haven't been on the anime scene in the last like 20 years and don't know what's going on.
Right.
Please, in your words, describe what is Ouron High School Host Club.
Here we go. And I should be able to do this because not every episode, but quite a few of them, they like recap the setting. And they like have the little voiceover like explaining like, Ouron Host Club, a place, and I can't remember all of it word for word, but like it is a really, really fancy, rich high school where one of the main focuses is this after-school club where there's just this group of dudes who have made it like their job of like, if you pay us money, we'll like make you delicious food and just hang out and like talk to you and be handsome, I guess. I don't super get it. I've watched the entire show and I don't fully understand.
Well, in Japanese culture, and like there are like host clubs, like real host clubs, and similar things for women as well, where you go and you get it. It's a bar. You go get a drink or whatever, and it's not like a stripper bar. It's not like that sort of thing.
Right.
But it is like I'm gonna pay for someone to talk to, basically. And so these hosts, like in real life, will like basically be fake, having just chatting with people and being nice and being fun. And if you do it right and really like they get big gifts from these women and they get a ton of money like you basically are like dating a whole bunch of women at once. Even
everyone's
though
cool with it.
Again, it doesn't go into like physical territory.
Right.
It is just like I am paying to have someone be my boyfriend, I guess.
There isn't even really any kissing, like, ever, I don't think.
No.
Like, except for main characters as part of the plot, but that's not really what we're talking about. With, like, these groups of people, there isn't really, like, anything as much as, like, hugging, I guess, and just kind of, like, sitting near each other. I feel a bit foolish for saying it so flippantly, like, what is this wacky concept? And it turns out that's a real thing, and I'm just like, oh.
No, I highly recommend. There's a recent Trash Taste episode where they, not recent actually, it's probably a while ago, and my brain doesn't know how to remember things. But they interviewed someone, a friend of theirs, who was a host for a while, and it's very fascinating. I highly recommend it because I'm just like, what is this life?
Oh man.
Anyway,
my apologies to the nation of Japan. I'm so sorry.
But it's taking this idea, right? And it's just like a maid cafe idea, right? That like a lot of like manga artists will take the maid cafe idea but put it into a high school setting. And this is the same thing except with a host club.
Gotcha. Okay. Connecting it to real world things and other manga ideas does make it make a bit more sense.
But it is, to our eyes, to our American eyes, it is absolutely ridiculous. Because in this context, it's all of these high school boys who are just like serving tea to these ladies who all have crushes on them. It's fantastic. It is wild and wonderful.
And they keep track of who's the most popular at any given time, or like who is doing the best with each one of their like specialties, like one of them being like the silent brooding one of them being the super forward one of them being the super cute one, and like if they aren't doing their specialty well enough, the other ones will like make fun of them or criticize them for it. It's such a weird setup. It's such a weird little world.
It's so good.
Yeah, but all of the students are like excited about it, and they're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna go to the host club, this is great. And into the middle of all that walks Haruhi.
Poor Haruhi.
Haruhi might... I'm trying not to be hyperbolic because I have a tendency to do that. Haruhi might be one of my favorite main characters of anything. Like
oh my gosh, I love.
Like, I could think of a lot of shows or stories or whatever where I love the story itself, but the main character is, like... This is a perspective character, so, like, not the most interesting person ever, but it's fine because the world is great. Haruhi is so fantastic. I honestly don't even know where to begin, because she... Wait, how does she get... Does she wander in there just because she's, like, exploring at first?
She was looking for someplace to study.
Yes,
but
that's
all
right.
of all of the libraries, because there are, like, multiple libraries on this campus, were all too loud, because these are super rich people who don't need to study.
Yeah. And she's not used to that because her family is actually like a more normal / lower middle class, whatever you want to call it.
She's a peasant.
Yeah. They call her a peasant sometimes. So she's totally not used to this, right? And she kind of feels out of place, and everyone around her seems like they're on this whole different planet. And she goes into music room 3 or whatever it is, right? And she finds this host club, and I think what kicks it off is the vase, right?
Yes.
She accidentally knocks over this vase.
Oh my gosh.
And because they all think she's a guy, so they're like, you have to work for us at the host club now as a guy. And she's like, I don't even fully. Sorry, I'm totally rambling because episode 1 was a little while ago, so some of it escapes me. But she agrees. She's just like,
well,
I guess
she
I
has
have
to
no
pay
choice.
them back.
Yeah.
She has to pay them back for the millions of dollars she just
so
broke in
expensive.
this vase. And like, what's great? Okay, this is truly serious.
Yeah.
Like, the first episode of Ouron High School Host Club
Yeah.
is one of my favorite first episodes to ever exist. Because it's the wonderful. I don't even want to spoil it.
Yeah.
But because we don't spoil things here on What You Watch.
Right.
But there is a visual representation of,
Oh my gosh.
and maybe we are spoiling it, but like,
Right. No, I know what you're talking about, though. Yeah. I didn't figure out what that meant until the very end.
exactly, which is the point. You don't understand. So
Yeah.
if you know, you know, but if you don't, just you'll have to watch the first episode.
Yeah.
But like, it's so well done and it's hilarious. And like upon rewatching it,
Yeah.
you see those things happen and it's even better. Like, because you don't fully know what's happening until the very end of the episode. And it's so good. Anyway.
Now that I think
so,
about it,
yeah.
that is kind of like its own little contained short film or something. Now that, because it's got like a
is.
whole plot
It
and a
can
whole
stand
arc
alone.
and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
even if you don't want to watch the whole show, I recommend everyone just watch the first episode, please.
It's so
I think
fun.
it's on Netflix.
It's so
Is
good.
it on Netflix still?
I think so. At least it used to be. I sure hope it's still there.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that's the basic synopsis, but
Oh
like,
my gosh.
oh man, there's so much to talk about. I could talk about a whole episode just about Ouron High School
Yeah.
Host Club with you. But like,
Or
what's
like
your takeaway?
Each of the
Like-
boys, I could talk about them for another 20 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like, easy.
Yeah. I had so much fun. Like, I think maybe the only problem it even slightly runs into is the perennial. The anime got cut a bit short when the manga was supposed to go for much longer, so of course the ending feels a bit rushed. But like, every anime has that problem, right? There's so many of
Yeah.
them, so I can't begrudge it too much. Everything else is stellar. The comedy is good. The characters are so memorable. The voice acting is incredible. Like, guys, if you give one show a chance with English dubs, it better be this one.
Oh my gosh.
It absolutely
gosh.
kills me. Oh, Is it a spoiler if I say who this voice actor is?
No, I don't think
Because
so.
hearing the voice of Edward Elric, like,
Yes, I was about to say it.
try to woo a bunch of high school girls and try to impress this person who he doesn't know is also a girl is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It is wild.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm like, they are completely opposite characters.
Oh, Tom.
And
Yeah.
he's always going to be Ed in my mind.
Yeah, exactly.
And so then
exactly.
I watch this.
It sounds
and I'm
like Ed. And you're just like, I don't understand why Edward is here, but I guess I'll just roll with it.
Because, like, I'm trying to imagine Edward in that scenario,
Oh,
and
it's
he's,
the
like,
best.
throwing things, and, like, he doesn't know how to handle women. Like, it's a miracle he got Winry.
That's the thing. They're not that different of characters, honestly. It kind of feels like it really is him.
Oh my gosh, though. Besides being suave, they're both full of themselves.
Yeah, that's true. Edward is a lot less, he's a lot worse with people now that I think about it. But in a lot of ways with, like, their weird outbursts and their being
They do.
extremely dramatic.
Wow, I'm connecting all of these
Yeah.
dots here. But they're both very overdramatic. And that's, it's just, it's the combination of all these crazy characters together and
yeah.
how well they meld and mesh and lift each other up. You know, like, the entire host club is more than the sum of their parts. And that's what
Yes.
makes it, one of the best shows ever.
And it's one of those things where like you start watching it and obviously like, okay, I know what the not a twist, but I know what the plot progression is going to be. Of course, these characters, even though they all seem goofy and weird, are eventually going to grow to love each other as a little family. Like, obviously, that's what's going to happen. But it's still so good the way they do it. Like, it's such a wonderful trope, and they do it so well. Like, it might not be the heaviest show on, like, big twists and surprises, although I guess there are a couple now I think about it. But, like, even just the core concept of these characters being in a weird situation and becoming closer friends is so good. And it's so cute and silly and dumb.
It's so good.
Oh, my gosh.
And Haruhi, as you said, being, like, one of your favorite characters ever. Like, she is so level-headed.
Yes, absolutely.
And, like, but is also willing to just, like, roll with the punches.
Right.
Like, she takes it on. She's like, I think I can get used to this being a guy. Yeah.
Oh, it absolutely kills me every time that they're trying to, like, convince her to do something, and they try to think of, like, all the ways that they would want to be persuaded, and she's like, no, I don't care about any of that. And then someone offhand mentions food, and she's like, interesting, tell me more.
Yes! Her biggest motivation is fancy tuna.
Oh, I was crying. That was so funny.
Oh my goodness. It's truly, truly fantastic.
When did this show come out?
Like early 2000s.
Okay, because, like, I was so delighted and impressed with how Haruhi is just like, I don't know, I think gender roles are kind of stupid. I don't really care what people think of me as. And I'm just like, this is amazing. Yes. Like, this is the greatest anime. Why did I not know about this before now?
I point to our to Ouron High School Host Club a lot as, like a very early like LGBTQ plus, like just gender queer. Like, she is very androgynous, and like also her father is like,
oh my gosh,
trans representation.
Yeah.
And or I guess because he still has him pronouns, but like is just open with exploring his identity and cross-dressing and all of those things, right? And like and not to mention, one of my favorite lines in the whole show is like, Haruhi and I are the main love interests, and you are all the homosexual supporting cast.
What does that make us? You boys are the homosexual supporting cast.
And, like, listen, it's never super clear on any of them, but let's be real. It's a fruit smoothie in there.
I think I might have sent this to you, but somebody said, I found a meme that was like, which one is actually more gay? Like, literally being gay or whatever on earth Tamaki had going on?
Yes. Did I send that to you?
It might have been. It sure might have been, yeah.
It was the one that's like, what's it's more so bi?
Oh, yes,
being
that was
bi?
It. Yes, that's right.
Being bi or whatever Tamaki.
Yes. No, you're exactly right. I misspoke, but you're right. It was bi, which is perfect for him, honestly. Yeah. It definitely is one of those things where I think if you took everything literally and stacked it up against like things we're talking about today, like of course there's a couple of terms or ideas that like don't quite meet the mark, right? But if you look at it as like early 2000s and like what it was accomplishing and what it was pushing forward for, like this character dresses up in clothes of a gender that isn't theirs, but that's not a thing that we're gonna like ridicule and hate them for. It's just a character in our show. Like, that's awesome.
Yes.
Especially for the time. And like there's so many good things to be really proud of about that, I think. And I'm glad that even though, like, again, like a couple of terms that may not have aged super well, but like for the most part people don't really care because, again, for the time, there's a lot of really great stuff going on here. Yeah.
Absolutely. It is a gem. Yeah. It is an absolute gem, everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Please watch it.
All the host club are so great. Like, what, again, I feel like, well, I mean, I'm sure y'all have because you've done a whole episode about it. Like, each one of these,
back in the day.
Each one of these guys, you could talk about it for like a half an hour. Yeah.
I mean, I could This is becoming the second Ouron High School Host Club episode. But I could do an entire new episode just on Ouron High School Host Club again, because it's been 4 years since we recorded the last one.
Yeah.
And there's so much to say about them. They're fantastic. Granted, I have tried to read the manga because, like, I want to know what goes on. But it's a hard one. It's a hard one for me, at least, to get into.
Yeah. Oliver was telling me about it. He said there's a lot more story about the twins, especially. Like, there's way more of how.
Maybe I need to try it again.
Right? I thought that sounded so interesting, even though they didn't really have time to put much of it into the show. But oh my gosh, learning more about them and more about like where they go as two different people sounds so interesting to me.
And that's what's fantastic. Like, oh man, I could just rave about the show forever. We're almost at an hour, but like, we still have a whole other podcast to record here. But like, I appreciate that a lot of times, like, the twins characters, right, are just the mischievous, funny duo, and they don't have their own separate identities, and like. Their whole arc is about that, like about them finding their own paths, and like it's really beautiful, and they are two completely different people, and I really appreciate that.
It's so striking, because at first it kind of seems like it's gonna be that, like, oh, okay, two characters who speak in unison and always do the exact same thing, like, okay, cool. So like it starts like that. So then as soon as things start changing and like little differences start popping up, you're just like, oh shoot. This is getting real. This is getting intense. And then once things like develop more along that path of them trying to figure out who they are, it really makes for a fascinating story, because that's something I don't see a whole lot, is like characters where their arc is that they've been in each other's shadow for so long and they don't know how to get out of it. Like, oh my gosh, it suddenly became really cool and interesting. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Big fan.
So much to say. So much to say about the show. Big fans over here, clearly.
I feel like you've tried to stop this segment 3 or 4 times, and each time I'm like, but more to say about Ouron.
But I've been doing it too. I keep it going because we love it so much. And honestly, you know what? Here's an extra long What You Watching. I don't mind, because it's all really great, and it's a good show, and it proves that we have a lot of lovely things to say, and we want to talk about it for another hour. But Jamie and I do need to record another episode, so we're gonna. So that's been Ouron High School Host Club. Let us know which member of the host club we are most like, and
we originally planned to talk about other things, but it was mostly Ouron. Let's be real, yeah.
It was mostly Ouron, which I appreciate and am here for. So yeah, tell us who your favorite character is at Fanimated Podcast on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and you can email us at fanimatedpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you to all the lovely Patreon supporters who make this show possible. Y'all are literally the best. And you too can be the best at patreon.com/fanimated. Go over there, check it out. Lots of bonus content. You will not be disappointed. And if you are, let me know, because then I'll just make more stuff and it'll be great. The music is written by the one, the only, the Jamie Krause.
That's
and the art is done by myself. Oh, wait, that's you? Really?
Well, I just realized, I couldn't remember if I said my full name at the beginning, so if people didn't know that, they would just be like, why did that guy just sing a theme song?
I am honored to have the wonderful musician Jamie Krause on the podcast. I didn't realize that it was the same person, Jamie.
I love the idea that I showed up like in disguise or something, yeah.
Yeah, who is this? I just thought we were chatting with this cool guy who also happened to be named Jamie, but he's also the guy that I went to college with and writes cool music and has a cool podcast called Knight's Quest with a K.
Oh, Knight's Quest, yeah.
Yes, check it out. Check it out. Man. Anyway, we'll be back soon with more animation discussion. And in the meantime, stay tuned.
And stay animated. I will call it Fanimated. WW July 1st. Jamie, audio.
I always title all my Whatcha Watching things just WW, and like every single time I'm like World War 29.
What does this mean?